The Bible teaches us that God desires to take care of his children, not as a primary force of their lives, but as a way to support their journey and purpose. Time and time again, scripture reminds us that God's blessing, whether they be material, relational, or spiritual, are often a result of trusting him and walking in obedience to his way. One powerful example is found in the life of Solomon. When Solomon prayed for wisdom rather than riches, God was so pleased that he gave Solomon not only wisdom, but wealth and honor beyond measure. The Lord said to him, "Moreover, I will give you what you have not asked for, both wealth and honor, so that in your lifetime you will have no equal among kings." 1 Kings 3 verses 13. This story reminds us that God does not withhold blessings for those who seek him first. Similarly, in Deuteronomy, God promised his people that obedience will bring an overflow of provision. The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of his bounty, to send rain on your land in season and to bless all the work of your hands. You will lend to many nations, but will borrow from none. Deuteronomy 28 verse 12. This verse shows us that God's blessings flow naturally when we align our hearts with him. Now the question is, what does obedience look like? When we think about obedience, what does that look like to you? What does it mean? Obedience to God means living and walking in faith. The kind of faith that assures us that God is working for our good and his glory. It's about aligning our minds and hearts with what is noble, right, pure, lovely, and admirable. As Philippians 4 verse 8 instructs, whatever's noble, whatever's right, whatever's pure, whatever's lovely, whatever's admirable. If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Why is this important? Because our thoughts shape our reality. Proverbs 23 verse 7 says, "As he thinks in his heart, so is he." This reminds us that we attract who we are. If our hearts and minds are focused on God's goodness and his truth, our lives will reflect the same goodness. Obedience begins with faith in God's promise and a commitment to walk in his way, trusting that he will provide and guide us. When we achieve spiritual growth, we begin to see blessings differently. They are no longer just things we want for ourselves, but are gifts entrusted to us by God for a greater purpose. Spiritual insight teaches us that these blessings, whether resources, relationships, or opportunities, are not the end goal. Instead, they are tools that allow us to glorify God, serve others, and live out his plans for our lives. Paul reminds us of this truth in 2 Corinthians. God is able to bless you abundantly so that in all things, at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. 2 Corinthians 9 verse 8. This verse shows us that God provides not only to meet our needs, but also to empower us to do good for others. The Bible also emphasizes that blessings come with responsibility. Jesus said, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can be trusted with much." Luke 16 verse 10. When we grow spiritually, we understand that what we have is meant to be used wisely. Whether it's financial provision, talents, or influence, God calls us to manage these blessings in ways that honor him. They are not given for selfish gains, but for the greater purpose of uplifting others, spreading love, and advancing God's kingdom. When our lives are rooted in God, we no longer strive for the blessings out of fear or greed. Instead, we trust that we seek him first. Everything else will fall into place. Jesus assured us of this balance in Matthew. "Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." Matthew 6 verse 33. These promises remind us that when we prioritize God, his blessing, both practical and spiritual, flow naturally. We no longer see them as a measure of our worth, but as evidence of his faithfulness and love. God's blessings are a beautiful reflection of his love and care for his children. When we grow spiritually, we gain the wisdom to see that blessings are not possessions to cling to, but as tools to serve others and fulfill our purpose. True richness is not about what we have, but how we use what we've given to glorify God and bring light to the world. By focusing our thoughts on what is noble, pure, and praiseworthy, we align ourselves with God's truth, which shapes who we are and what we attract into our lives. Walking in obedience and faith opens the door to God's peace, provision, and purpose, allowing us to reflect his light in everything we do. Thank you for watching. If this message spoke to you, like, share, and subscribe for more. Stay blessed and see you in the next video.